Dear students, today we are here with a discussion on HMP shunt. In this lecture, we will discuss about the significance, steps, regulations of the pathway, along with some important facts about the G6PD deficiency. This G6PD is an important regulatory enzyme of this pathway. So hexose monophosphate shunt or the HMP shunt is the different names for this pathway, and the important point is that why it is known as shunt. It is known as shunt because the pathway begins with the glycolytic intermediate, that is glucose 6-phosphate. It reconnects with the glycolysis because two of its the end product, that is the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and the fructose 6-phosphate, are the two intermediates which further goes to the glycolytic pathway. It is for this reason this is known as a shunt. As a shunt means to turn aside from one track to another. The reaction involves the intermediate formation of pentose phosphate, hence it is also known as pentose phosphate pathway, or it is also known as phosphogluconate pathway. It is an alternative pathway to glycolysis and the TCA cycle for the oxidation of the glucose. This is point to be noted that it is an alternative pathway for the glycolysis and the TCA cycle for the oxidation of the glucose. The site of reaction is cytosol of liver, adipose tissue, adrenal gland, RBC, testes and lactating mammary gland. About 10% of the glucose molecule per day are entering this pathway. The liver and the RBC metabolize about 30% of the glucose by this pathway. The pathway has two phases, the oxidative and the non-oxidative phases. In oxidative phase, the glucose 6-phosphate is oxidized and generate two molecules of NADPH and one molecule of pentose phosphate with liberation of carbon dioxide. During non-oxidative phase, the pentose phosphate obtained in the oxidative phase are converted in the intermediates of the glycolysis. Now coming to the significance of the pathway. This pathway helps in the generation of NADPH used in the reductive biosynthesis of fatty acids, steroids, cholesterol, neurotransmitters, etc. Here I want to discuss about the difference between the NADPH and NADH. This NADPH is phosphorylated form of the NADH. In general, the NADH is used to derive the phosphorylation of ADP to ATP, or we can say that it helps in the production of ATP. The NADH helps in the production of ATP. But if we talk about this NADPH, it is used where reducing potential is required for the synthetic reactions like biosynthesis of fatty acids, steroids, cholesterol, neurotransmitters, etc. So we should keep in mind that what is the difference between NADPH and NADH. The pathway helps in the production of ribose 5-phosphate, which is used in the synthesis of nucleotides and nucleic acids, and we all know that the nucleic acids are very important for our survival. The next important significance is the production of erythrose 4-phosphate, which is used in the synthesis of aromatic amino acids in our body. This is the only pathway which helps in the production of pentose sugar. These pentoses are obtained from the hexose sugar which enters in this pathway. NADPH also helps in antioxidant reaction of hydrogen peroxide. Now let's see some example of the tissues with active HMP shunt. As we have already discussed that the site of reaction is the cytosol of the liver, adipose tissue, etc. So what are the role of this pathway? This pathway takes place in the adrenal gland for the production of the steroids. In liver, this will help in the fatty acid and the cholesterol synthesis. In testes, it will also help in the steroid synthesis. In adipose tissues, also helps in the fatty acid synthesis. In ovary, it helps in the steroid synthesis. In mammary gland, it helps in the fatty acid synthesis. And in RBCs, it will maintain the reduced glutathione. So all of these are the important significance of this pathway. Now coming to the steps. As we have already discussed, the steps are divided into oxidative and the non-oxidative part. Two colors of the pathway are here showing the oxidative and the non-oxidative phase of this pathway. Now coming to the step number 1. In step number 1, this glucose 6-phosphate is oxidized to produce 6-phosphogluconolactone. 6-phosphogluconolactone in the presence of glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase, which is a NADP plus dependent enzyme, and this will produce NADPH. This step is the rate limiting step. This first step is the rate limiting step, and regulation of the pathway is affected by this enzyme, that is glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. In step number 2, this 6-phosphogluconolactone is hydrolyzed to produce 6-phosphogluconate. This is hydrolyzed in the presence of lactonase. In the next step, this 6-phosphogluconate is oxidized coupled with decarboxylation to produce ribulose 5-phosphate in the presence of enzyme 6-phosphogluconate dehydrogenase. In this step also a second NADPH is produced, and with decarboxylation there is a production of carbon dioxide molecule. So all these three steps comes in the oxidative phase of this HMP shunt, and at 2 step there is a production of NADPH here in the first step and here in this third step. Now coming to the non-oxidative phase. In the non-oxidative phase, this ribulose 5-phosphate is isomerized in the presence of phosphopentose isomerase to produce ribose 5-phosphate, and epimerized. This ribulose 5-phosphate epimerized in the presence of phosphopentose epimerase to produce xylulose 5-phosphate. So both of these steps are the next step, that is step number 4. Now in step number 5, there is a trans-ketolase enzyme reaction. This trans-ketolase enzyme is a thymine pyrophosphate, that is TPP dependent enzyme. It transfers 2 carbon unit from xylulose 5-phosphate to ribulose 5-phosphate to form a 7 carbon compound, that is pseudohaptulose 7-phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Trans-ketolase is an enzyme which transfers the group from a donor ketose to an aldose acceptor. The thymine deficiency, the activity of this trans-ketolase is decreased. In the next step, that is in step number 6, there is an activity of trans-aldolase. In the presence of trans-aldolase, there is the transfer of 3 carbon unit from the pseudohaptulose 7-phosphate to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate to form fructose 6-phosphate. Here also the donor is a ketose and the acceptor is an aldose Now in next step, in step number 7, there is another transcriptolase activity in which 2 carbon unit is transferred from this xylulose 5 phosphate. A 2 carbon unit is transferred from this xylulose 5 phosphate to form this fructose 6 phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate. So 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde is formed here. This is the last step. 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate is formed in this step, which is condensed to form 1 fructose 6 phosphate, which is condensed to form 1 fructose 6 phosphate, and there is production of also, here also there is production of fructose 6 phosphate, and here also there is production of fructose 6 phosphate. So whole total there is a production of 5 fructose 6 molecule, 2 from here, 2 fructose 6 phosphate from here, 2 fructose 6 phosphate from here, and 1 fructose 6 phosphate from the condensation of the glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate. So the whole total there is a production of 5 fructose 6 phosphate molecule, and all of these 5 fructose 6 molecule formed regenerates the 5 molecules of glucose 6 phosphate. Now in summary, if we talk that suppose 6 molecules of glucose is entering in this pathway, then the first carbon atom of all the 6 glucose molecule are removed as 6 molecules of carbon dioxide from this in this oxidative pathway, and this is equivalent to the complete oxidation of 1 molecule of glucose. In the oxidative pathway, this is the oxidative pathway, and in the oxidative pathway 12 NADPH are generated here and here. Whole total 12 NADPH are generated. The remaining 6 molecules after oxidative phase, this remaining 6 molecule of 5 carbon pentoses, this ribulose 5 phosphate. This ribulose is a 5 carbon pentoses are interchanged at different places, interchanged to xylulose, ribose, pseudohaptulose, glyceraldehyde. We can see that at all over the step we can see that there is a transfer of only different carbons to the different sugar. So these are interchanged in such a way that 5 molecules of glucose are regenerated. We have seen that 2 fructose 6 phosphate generated from here, 2 fructose 6 phosphate generated from here, and 1 fructose 6 phosphate from here, and all of these 5 fructose 6 phosphate will regenerate the 5 molecules of glucose 6 phosphate. So this is the summary of this SUNT pathway, that there is a production of 12 NADPH and 5 molecules of glucose 6 phosphate. Now coming to the regulation. If we talk about regulation, we have already seen that the glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase is the important regulatory enzyme for this pathway, which is activated by NADPH and inhibited by NADP+. Now, have you ever think that what happen if there is glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency in our body? What happens if there is glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency in our body? So glucose 6 phosphate deficiency is a sex-linked disease. The gene of this glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase is on the X chromosome, and hence males are affected. Deficiency occurs in the all cells, but the most severe in RBC. HMP shunt provides NADPH in RBC. Decreased activity of this glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase impairs the synthesis of NADPH in RBC, which results in the accumulation of methemoglobin and peroxides in RBCs. And accumulation of these methemoglobin and peroxides results in the hemolysis of RBC, and which results in the hemolytic anemia. So this is the disease which is related with the glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. If there is glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency in our body, it results in hemolytic anemia. And there is also one most important fact, and it is also interesting to note that this glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency is associated with resistance to the malaria, because Plasmodium falciparum is dependent upon the HMP shunt and reduced glutathione for their optimum growth in RBC. So this is all about the significance, steps and regulation of the HMP shunt. If you like this video, please do subscribe my channel and do share with your friends. Thank you for your time.